What's up, y'all? You are listening to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee, and I am not alone today, y'all. I have a feature. And I'm excited. Oh my gosh, if you're watching, her lipstick is always popping. Let me just say that, okay, with the dark hair, but let me not already start to go down a rabbit trail. Our guest today is a good friend of mine. Her name is Debbie Turner, also known as Devorah. She is an inspirational spoken word and hip hop artist, currently based in Los Angeles, California, after living in New York City for almost 20 years. Her experience is vast, from writing, creating, performing, pastoring, and leading women's empowerment in the East Coast. She has also recorded several songs. She's released her first EP, several singles, such as This Time Around, Looking For, which is a Tony Hansen remix, True Vine, and Chosen. Girl, you like the remixes, okay? She views the art of music in the form of hip hop as a tool to positively impact and inspire the world for change. Right there, that tells you why she is the perfect person to have on this podcast. Okay, change, positive impact. Yes, we are winning. Okay, let me tell you a little bit more about her before she says hello. She has a heart for people, and I know this to be true because I see her day in and day out living the life of helping people. Listen, she was part of the crisis counseling program with FEMA in New York for the survivors of the Sandy Superstorm. Do y'all remember that? Okay, she's always like boots on the ground. This opportunity came soon after the loss of her father to liver cancer. So, that sounds heavy. We may or may not touch that. She can attribute her ability to empathize with many that have lost loved ones in the disaster as a result of that. Her and her husband, they became campus pastors and worked with low-income families in the projects of Staten Island. Oh my gosh, there's so much, girl. She has three beautiful children. Okay, they moved to LA to pursue ministry and their heart to, serve the broken and the hurting in Los Angeles. So we're blessed to have her here. She still works with like the homeless community, transitional home for single mothers. She's a case manager. She does so much. We can have her tell more about what she's doing now, but she also uses her creativity by providing support to a team of housing specialists. And as for music, even though she's not released music in a while, 6 years, 2023 is around the corner and she is looking to do some things. Okay, so let's hear about those things that she is looking to do. She served on the worship team for her local church, Mosaic, where I met her for 4 years. She is currently a part of Maverick City, whoop whoop, the choir, and she enjoys every bit of it. I know this to be true also. Y'all like the snaps, y'all? She stays surrounding herself with music of all genres as long as it glorifies God, and she is here for it. Debbie Turner, aka Devorah, welcome.
Thank you very much. I just have to say, I want to learn the snaps. That sounded so cool. I can't do it. I don't have power. I have no power on my tips. I don't know.
My! You know what? Can you whistle though?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not like probably you can.
No, I can't whistle. Which I think is like a random thing. I'm like, how can I not whistle? I can sing, but I can't whistle.
Interesting.
Well, next time I see you, we're going to work on the snaps, okay?
It's too bad. It's really bad. I'm not even going to try it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, but you do other things. Look at all this, okay? Music, helping people. Helping people seems, we'll get into that because that's just kind of like a really easy heart thing. But I tend to start with like, how did you even get into music? Because you're in the hip hop lane, you do music. I mean, when did you start doing music?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's way, way many moons ago, I want to say. I started writing. It was just a way of release. I grew up in really broken home, parents that were divorced at a young age, and just like really, single mom who did her best. She did her best to provide, to be there, but she was working, so just not a lot of support around the home. So I started, writing. And writing a lot, all my feelings, all of it. And I met some friends. I was probably like 14 or 15. 17. Like, you know what? That sounds really good. You should put that to a beat. They played some beats, and I was able to like kind of just start rhyming that way. I did grow up with an older brother that put me onto all the UMTV raps, flashback, all the old hip hop hits. And so I think I kind of got, that in my veins at that time, but just putting some of my thoughts together on some vinyl beats was the first, I guess, recollection. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, recollection.
There
Yeah.
you go.
You got it, girl. You got it.
Of being just introduced to music in the form of hip hop.
So you started writing all of the stuff. So it was basically just stuff that was about like your experience, your everyday experience with the things that you were you struggling? What did you say struggling with?
Yeah, I definitely was struggling. I think I had like the um I could do all by myself kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until like I started listening to like Lauryn Hill, who was just she's just the queen. She's the queen. That really helped me see, I could use music not just negative or my negative thoughts, but also like have some positivity in there. Um, but that was the beginning of my journey with music.
Okay. I think it's so dope when it comes to art forms of any kind. Just the whole healing element of art and expression. I mean, there's so many stories of people coming from broken homes, broken situations, like, something turbulent is going down, and they just naturally gravitate towards some sort of expression of art in some way. And I just think that's so dope that we have that available to us. Like every person really has that available.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I would melt and die if I didn't have music today. I think that's what's gotten me through so much. And even if it's just instrumental, just something, just it helps me be grounded, to be honest. It's like it's therapy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, so you said you had an older brother that kind of introduced you and put you onto Yo MTV Raps. did you guys do
Please.
did you guys do any music together?
No, but yeah, that's something that's interesting. He used to freestyle, and I learned some freestyle from him as well. But yeah, those UMT, he used to make me record them for him while he went out and hung out with his friends. And that was my job. And if I didn't do it, like I wasn't getting like, I don't know, ice cream. I have no idea. I was so young. And I'm like, of course I'm gonna do it. But yeah, those video VHS tech, is it VHS
Yeah,
tapes?
VHS.
Remember? Do you remember those?
Yeah, I think I still have some actually.
Really?
I ain't gonna
Wow.
get rid of them. I mean, those are some precious memories, and I haven't actually. I mean, you can transfer them now because we're fancy in 2022. I think you can transfer them onto DVD.
You probably have CDs too, huh?
I do have CDs. I don't want to give them up. Okay, why do I have to throw out my
Let
CDs?
go and let God. No, just kidding.
Look at they're gonna come back around. I have cassette tapes too.
Oh, okay. Well, those are cool. I like cassette tapes. I think those will always be something that you can hold on to. And they're smaller. They're
Oh,
not
those
so
there's
big. And
those are
just
acceptable, but my CDs are not.
I don't know. The CDs are always scratched. Like, what's the point? I like to throw away things. I'm like, if I don't need it, I'm throwing it away. It's already on my Apple Music. They're not paying me to say
Oh wow.
it.
Well, you know what? I can't. I need my stuff, okay?
You hold on to your stuff.
So, well, at least some of it. Anyway, but let's not even go there. Okay, so let's go back to the music. So you didn't actually collaborate with your brother musically, but what was the very first thing in terms of like putting your music out there to other people that you remember doing? Like at what point did it go from like a private, personal, I'm getting through some stuff to, you know what? This is for other people and I'm going to publicly share my music and put it out there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually did quite a lot of big things at a young age. I was raised in Florida, South Florida. I think it was probably around the age of 17, probably 18, we opened up, myself and my cousins, we kind of got together and made ourselves a rap group. We were like, we're going to be a rap group, and I taught my cousins how to rap. And then yeah, it actually was pretty dope to do some shows. We opened up for some headliners at different nightclubs in South Beach. And yeah, I mean, I think those are my first memories of just sharing whatever I have written out,
Mm-hmm.
and just, collabing with some of my cousins. But yeah,
Okay. So that's when you did it publicly for the first time.
yeah. For those who know me, they're like, Debbie in a club? What?
Oh,
Yes,
it was in a club.
it
Okay,
was
cuz
it was nightclubs. It was definitely nightclubs, in South Beach. So
South Beach nightclubs, girl, you know what? You was a tough one, okay? You could throw down, huh? If somebody stepped to you, you would be like, swerve, no, not happening today.
especially in the night in the dance, you cannot battle dance me. I'm I'm gonna get you.
Oh my gosh, little Debbie, I would love to see that.
I'm sure my husband would love to see it too.
All right, so you was nightclubbing it, and then, I mean, but were you enjoying it? I mean, was it something that you like really loved?
Well, honestly, I felt like it was another person when I was on
Mm,
stage. It wasn't me. It was like, I guess, how a lot of performers say they have their alter ego. I think
mm-hmm.
it was another person, like another side of me,
Yeah.
to be able to express myself as I never did when I was younger. I didn't get a chance to. At the time, I was the youngest. I was the baby at the time. And so I think looking back, and that was just something that maybe I wanted to be like, hey, it's me. Look at me. Look at me. I can rap. Look at me. I'm a female.
Mm-hmm.
it was all about me. It was kind of like all eyes on me and not necessarily, what I have to say. Because what I really had to say looking back wasn't great anyway. It wasn't
Yeah.
that great. It was just for show. It was like battle rapping, and I, people do that still, and that's good. All good for them. I think music for me now is a form of expressing and sharing stories that can, people can relate to, but then also they can find some type of healing or an answer,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they're going through.
Yeah. I a friend of mine just put up a quote. It was either yesterday or today. You may have seen it, but it was something like, don't go to the mountaintop to be seen, but go to the mountaintop to see the world.
Mm.
And I just love that, because it's about perspective and a shift in perspective. And just in terms of your example, in terms of what you were just saying or sharing, it's like your perspective changed, possibly. I mean, I know you said it was like another person or another part of you, and it just makes me think sometimes we mature out of those spaces that are in us.
That's good.
It's
Yeah.
like it really was probably a part of who we were, but we're no longer that. It's not. So I don't know.
No, that's
Does
good.
that
Yeah.
resonate?
No, it does. And it brings me to like the next thought is kind of the epiphany that I got one day after like opening up for, one of these artists. If I named them, everyone would know. It's not a big deal, to me now. But then it was like, whoo, so huge.
Yeah.
And we went to like an after party, and there was like all things there, like anything you wanted, it was there, like all kinds of drugs. I mean, if you wanted drugs, they were there.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of alcohol, like just so many things that, you think as when you're younger, this is what I want. I want to be in the in crowd. I want to be, surrounded by this. And I just got this like really deep emotional feeling, like this is not for me, an empty feeling that this
Mm.
is not for me. This is not what, everything you thought was going to, be at this after party or even in the music industry is showing up to not be satisfying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I was like 19 at the time, and it was kind of an epiphany for me. And that was my start of the journey that I started to go on.
Yeah. You were in your teens then, or what?
19, yeah. I think
19.
for me, when it really changed, music changed for me and the
Mm-hmm.
value of it when I was 20. I turned 20,
Mm-hmm.
and that just was like a big deal for me. It was like a turnover. Not no longer a teenager, but like you're 20, and it's like, what is my purpose here? What is my purpose on earth? What am I supposed to be doing? Why did I go through so much as a young child? What's next for me? And so those were some of the things that I was like just asking God, like, what and who am I supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At 20.
At 20.
Dang, I love that. Was there someone around that was helping you ask yourself those questions, or did you just, or was it just, you and God and you're like coming to those questions on your own or with him?
Yeah, I know that's a great question. I think for me, there was a lot of situations that happened that kind of pushed me to the
Mm,
place where it's like
yeah.
asking myself these questions. But then there was my cousin, my beautiful cousin,
Mm.
who reached out to me and just, she shared with me that she had been praying for me and she knew like my life was like a total
Aw.
mess and I was going the wrong direction. And she was praying for me, and that was the start of a journey for me, in finding faith and finding the purpose in my life.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Love that. Okay, I got to go back for a second because you were telling your story about the nightclubs and being an after party, and you dropped the drugs and the alcohol. And you know what? I have, in all of the episodes that I've had, I don't think anyone has ever like brought that up, really, in terms of being in environments or spaces where drugs and alcohol and things like that are prevalent, which is interesting because in that lane, right, in industry,
Right.
in this sort of entertainment business, that stuff is around and prevalent. So I love that you actually brought that up because you're my friends. I'm gonna go ahead and go there with you in terms of asking you.
Let's do it.
I mean, was that something that was ever a challenge that you dabbled into in terms of getting into drugs, getting into alcohol? Was that a temptation for you at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. I just remember at a young age just being around all the older kids in school, and they're always drinking, smoking, skipping school. And I was like, I am not going to follow them. Like, I am my own leader. I am not, no. And they would ask me, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. So I could look like a fool. Like, I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I had that, like, I do me attitude. But being around it for so long, like a few years going in, I think it was like probably 14 or 15 when I first drank. And
Mm.
I took my first sip of a 40. You guys remember that 40?
Yeah,
Um,
it's like in a glass bottle, right?
like a big one, a 40
Yeah.
ounce. And yeah, I was like, hey, let me try that. Let me try. What does that taste like?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was that? What's that smell? Like, let me smell that. Let me smoke that. Let me try that. And it's not going to affect me. I kind of did it as a dare. Like, this isn't going to do what it does to you, to me, and it did that and then some. I
Mm.
am like that person that cannot handle alcohol, and which is why I don't drink till now, and I have other reasons why, and we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
But I can't handle it. It's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I always say, if it's after hours and I don't have my kids around, I'm good. Like, I'm good. You don't want to see me drinking. But that was definitely something that I had struggled with for a couple of years. I don't want to say that I struggled with it, because at the time I did enjoy it and I was doing it. I was doing me. It wasn't a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But when I chose to lay that down, put it down and stop, it was a struggle, because then it's like, I'm
Mm.
literally addicted to this. Literally addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to cigarettes. I'm addicted to weed. I mean, it was addicted. I think that was the most part I was addicted to.
Yeah.
And so when I did decide to lay it down, it was a struggle, and it took all of God to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love your phrasing of that because it's powerful. It's like when I chose to lay it down. And I love that because, I feel like as we journey, and again, this is not just for, of course, we're speaking to artists, but this is like for anybody, whether or not you call yourself an artist or not. But it's like as we journey, it's like we do have moments, seasons, times where it would serve us and benefit us to lay some things down, right?
That's good.
And not do those things anymore, whatever it might be, drugs, alcohol. I mean, it's personal, right?
Yeah.
But um
Call
how
that
did you
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, expert, all that, right? So, my next question, because I'm always trying to ask questions that might help someone who is either in a similar situation or, you know what I mean? So that they can kind of take from, not to do exactly what you have done or what I have done, but in listening to what we've done, there might be an aha moment where they're like, oh, shoot, that's how I can get through X, Y, and Z. So, as you talk about you choosing to lay these things down, it's like, how did you get to the place of doing that? To saying, like, no more, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm laying this thing down.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I can't exactly remember. It's been so long. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's been, I'm gonna tell my age now. I'm gonna tell my age.
yeah. We
It's been
know you're only
over
26.
all the Revlon and L'Oreal free. Um, it's been over 20 years, let's put it that way. And what I do know is because the addiction was so strong, I did reach out to my cousin who at the time was sharing about faith and how she had been praying for me
Mm-hmm.
and believing that, that God would just save my soul, that Jesus would save my soul. And he did. Let me just tell you, he did. He did it. He did it for me and he can do it for you. Okay. Get that out the way. Get that out the way.
She about to start preaching.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. But I have to say it because that's exactly what happened. And I just remember going to different like church events with her and different, would say spiritual events at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and just going in like as myself with my, my short mini skirt, my hookah boots, and like, what? This is me. And no one judged me. Everyone loved me. But I noticed like I had some bad habits that I didn't want to keep because I felt like I got convicted. I felt like this wasn't for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was over it. And I just couldn't stop though. So I would pray and reach out, to get some more support and prayer. And out of nowhere, it just left. Like that desire left. It was kind of a miracle because I know for some people it doesn't work that way. I was tempted, and you could always be tempted all the time, but at the time I did get some temptation there, but it just my desire to be more wholesome and be whole without it,
Mm-hmm.
was what I really thought was, yeah, I thought that was what I needed the most, was to just be, cleared out, like my whole system of
Mm.
that, and then start to make some decisions that were more clear minded.
Okay. Gotcha. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
So here
appreciate.
I am, sober me.
Here you are, sober you.
And it's like, are you sure? Because sometimes I don't know. I think I'm too silly at times. It doesn't look like I'm sober. And you know what? That's joy. That's God's joy. Through life, I honestly felt like I was reaching for the bottle, reaching for the smoke, like because I wanted to forget what I was dealing with. A lot of the self-inflicted trauma, or just childhood trauma that I had been going through and didn't realize it. I didn't know. I wasn't educated. I had no idea how to really clearly think. And so while all that is out of my system, now I'm like, I got, lots of revelation as to what I can do next in my life, what my next path will, my path will be leading me if I make the right decisions now. And so, yeah, then I moved to New York, and it was just a whole nother story. I'm repping New York. I live in New York.
You're repping New York, and it says West
And
Coast.
West Coast,
You
yeah.
got both
Yes.
popping.
Close to my heart.
Love it. Love it.
I think we're matching too.
I know. Look at that. We're on
Selfie
the
shot.
green and black vibe. See, we're in alignment.
Yes.
I love
Love
it.
it.
We did not plan that. Um. Okay. So shoot, there was something I was gonna ask you. Okay. So you talked about how you got into writing. You were using your art as a way to kind of work through some of the stuff that you were dealing with, experiencing. At any point, did the stuff that you were experiencing become a hindrance, or did it get in the way of you moving forward in your creativity or in your craft? Or was it always just like, yeah, I'm going through this stuff, but I'm still creative and I can write these things and I can do these things? Or did it ever become that, like, that stuff was kind of like a roadblock, the stuff
Mm.
that you were experiencing, the
Yeah,
tough stuff?
I think for me, I as soon as I guess I gave my heart to God, and I just, started developing a life of faith. I wrote my first, song that was, I would say, filled with like, positivity, God's word, like whatever I learned, the little scriptures I learned, it was like in just in a song.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, what I would say what had blocked me from really writing free was like the internal things, because just because you find faith, and you start loving God, and because He loves you, doesn't mean you don't have a lot of stuff in you
Mm-hmm.
that needs to come out. And so yeah, I definitely felt like in the beginning I had so many walls. I still had trust issues. Like I was the girl, because I was a rapper, I was always around guys. I was barely around girls. Can you believe it? Like I'm such a girl's girl. Like I love hanging out with my ladies. And I was like, no, you can't. No, I don't want to hang with you. And so even as a believer, I struggled having like female relationships. And so I definitely would say that those things that were internal inside, they were toxic,
Mm-hmm.
the ways of thinking, being judgmental, all those things. I want to say they're kind of like a drug to us too. We want to hold on to them, but when we release them, when we let them go, like the judgment and, the preconceived, ideas that we have of others,
Mm-hmm.
we can begin to just be better people, be a nice human, and write good music that would be encouraging. And not to say I don't go through stuff. Of course I go through stuff, and I write music that, until this day, even I haven't released anything, I do write. I have a bunch of writings, but I try to write what I'm really going through, and then
Mm-hmm.
also like what I have gone through that I can possibly, connect with someone else, and it could be a help, an answer to what they're going through.
I love that. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Even if she's not releasing something, she is still writing. So it's like it doesn't stop. You know what I mean? You're still actually producing even though it's not necessarily seen. It's like there's things happening, Kind of
I
like
love that. Yeah, that's so true. And that's something that I think, I don't know about anyone else, but I've struggled with that, like to be seen, like going back to my beginning days, like being on stage and like just being so showy, such a
mhm.
show off, I was like very
Yeah.
good entertainer, performer. But then it's like, well, who am I pointing people to? Me? Like, I don't have any answers. I was a hot mess. We don't have time on this show to talk about all the hot messness I was in. Okay. That would be like part 2, 3, and 4. But like, yeah, for sure, there's that temptation to be like, hey, am I being seen? Am I being heard? I have all these things that I want to share. And I think that is something that I think this generation, our generation, any generation can struggle with, being seen. But when you get that, alignment, or when you get back aligned into what God says about you, and how He sees you, and how much He has in store for you, prepared for you. You begin to see it's not about you, it's not your story, it's His story through you. And so yeah.
Yeah. It's good. That is good. And as I feel like as performers, because everybody that's an artist and everybody that's creative is not necessarily one who performs, right? It's like there's a whole lane where people are just creating and generating works, but they're not actually seen. So that whole performance piece, it's
Yeah.
like it's really tricky in terms of just I guess a sense of groundedness, right? With your security of knowing who you are and like you said, like your purpose. It's like when you're solid in, those things, then you're not out there trying to be seen just for the sake of being seen or being glorified for yourself.
Yeah, that was one of the my security was one of the first spoken words I wrote, um, coming back on the scene, because I did stop for, which is interesting. I think I have like the start and stop of like releasing things, and it's usually around 7 years. But
Mm.
I had first stopped when I had my daughters. They were preemies. And I think at the time I was so young, I was like in my early 20s. I thought, I can't be a mother and a rapper. Like that's too much. didn't have that many, examples of that, or at
Mm.
least we didn't see that femininity on stage. It's more like more masculine, very masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just a full-time mom. But even then I was writing all the time. I was writing. And then one day I think I saw, like, I went to like a Lecrae or some concert, and I just got really inspired, and I don't think I went home. I think I went to a coffee shop, and I just wrote this spoken word called My Security, which is
Mm.
on my 2010 EP. Still outdating myself. And it's spoken word. It was kind of rough when we recorded it because I had just got back into rapping again. So if you hear it, don't judge me for it. It's kind of rough, but the words, listen to the words. The words are important.
Well, it sounds like the words, the lyrics, the message are still they're relevant. Like, what you're talking about, it transcends time. It's never out of season or out of date,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah, I think that's important to know. Like, I think a lot of times people, as artists, or a creative, you want to be seen, you want your work to be seen, you want your work to be heard, but um, it's not, again, it's not about like the masses listening to it. It's about like, who's that for? Who's that song you're writing for? Besides yourself, because you're always writing to yourself, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking, you're speaking to yourself first. And it's funny because I didn't realize how many people it reached, especially when you put your music on like Amazon and Apple Music. You get
Mm-hmm.
like the CD baby. I don't know. I'm just giving credit to everyone. I hope they send me another check. But
I
like
know, right? I'm gonna need to
and
send them a letter with the copy of this podcast. Y'all need to break a sister off, okay?
all donations go to creative. Okay, so yeah, I one time I went and I checked, I get a little check every other month or whenever, people are, I guess, downloading, and I went to see like who's downloading my music, where are they downloading from, and I was so amazed by all the countries and cities, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, like I don't even know who these people are, and they're listening, and it's multiple downloads. And of course you don't get much money, you get like a point
Yeah, I know.
penny from it, but you definitely like can see the impact um, of technology and how it goes throughout, and sometimes from time to time I get somebody on like my YouTube like writing, I heard your music was so, awesome, and I got like so excited because it was a female rapper or whatever, that they get inspired, and I'm like, wow, I'm inspiring someone that I don't even know. That inspires me to keep going. That inspires me to like say, okay, it took a 7-year break again, but let me start this again. It's ebb and flows. It's ebb and flows.
Oh my goodness. I love that you just brought that up. You got a 7 year stint happening every 7 years. Well, I think that's actually, when people are like, follow the science, it's like scientifically, like our cells or something turn over I think it's every 7 years.
Hmm,
Yeah,
that's
like
awesome.
Google that. So it's like even the body does stuff in like long increments of time,
Wow.
you know? But what you said, for me, it's like confirmation of some things that I was thinking about, because it's like even with, this organization, it's like, I want things to happen or I think they're going to happen a lot faster than they really do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's just like I hear, the spirit saying like, how long are you willing to wait for the things that I have coming for you? It's like,
Wow.
a lot of times we think that we're willing to be in a position to, as long as it takes, I'm going to wait for whatever that thing is. And then sometimes I feel like subconsciously or inadvertently, we start to be like, this is taking too long, on the inside. And then we start maneuvering and doing things that we really shouldn't even be doing, when all we need to do is what we've been doing and wait for it to come at the appointed time.
That's so true. It's so true. It reminds me of like the one time that I had taken a break, and I think I was like in a Bible study or something, and they were doing a 30 days to live. If you had 30 days to live, what would you do differently? And
Mm.
it's like they gave you a whole checklist. Would you like serve your community? because you haven't served. Like, no, I've been doing that. Check. Have you been, have you been with your family? You've been spending time. I'm a stay-at-home mom at the time. Yes, check. It's just like they went down the line. I'm like, yep, check, check, check. I'm such a
Mm,
great person. And then it's like, are you using all your talents and gifts and abilities to, share to the world? What are your talents? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing
mm,
that anymore. And I had to do something different. I had to start thinking differently. My mindset was like, if I had 30 days to live, what would I do differently? Well, I'm going to start, writing and creating and releasing. And within that 30 days, I put out my first EP. And that's why it's a little bit rough, but the story's there. The story's there. So you could check it out. And I think sometimes we just need to tweak a little bit of what we're doing to have something different too at the same time.
yeah.
It depends on where you're at and what situation you're in, but I agree, like holding on to God's promise, like what you're supposed to do, what you're born to do, what you're destined to do, regardless of like people throwing money your way,
Mm-hmm.
to build your organization, or people like saying, hey, I need you to be on my album featured. Like that doesn't mean anything. Look at all the people that are being featured and have organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't mean anything. Like when God says something that is for you to do, just be obedient, and he will bring that promise. And he uses people. I've realized, like, every day, like, people are answers to other people's problems,
Mm-hmm.
prayers, and we need people, and
Mm-hmm.
so I got you, girl. Whatever you need from me, however I can help, whatever time I got, it's yours. Here I am.
Oh, so awesome. So awesome. And the 30 days to live thing, like, whoa. And look at that. It created a sense of urgency. You got your first EP out within those first 30 days. I'm convinced that sometimes it's not always about what we are producing in terms of like a tangible thing, more so than it is what we're producing on the inside of us. The fact that you were able to step into that urgency and get it done, even though, it may not be exactly how you want it to be, it's like you got it out though. You got it out. You did it.
That's so true. I mean, I had been waiting for like a whole decade to release something.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am. My life has changed. I have faith. I have family. I have so much that I could share and talk about. But I just didn't do it because I thought, like, no one really wants to hear me. I'm just this. I'm just that. But I mean, I think it was a pretty good album, even though it was a little rough. But I think it was a pretty good album to do like low budget. When you're an indie artist, like it's low budget. Oh, it's no budget. It's
No budget.
zero. Zero
Right.
plus zero is zero.
I feel like I still owe a friend because I was like, I still got a little bit more to pay you, and it took so long. And he knows I love him. I'm good for it. It was so long ago that I'm like, I vaguely remember that, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's so
Anyway.
funny you mentioned that. Like for me, like I hate owing people. Like that's my thing. I don't know where that came from. Like I'm like somebody like, hey, yeah, don't worry, you pay me later. I'm like them owing you. Like I don't know what it is. So right before we came here to LA from New York, I got connected with a really amazing producer, which is Tony Hansen in his studio, which is Phoenix Studio. Shout out Phoenix Studios in Staten
Whoop,
Island.
whoop.
If you're ever in Staten Island, go hit him up. He does great work. I mean, yeah, he's recorded with all of them, anyone you could
Mm,
think of. And so what I started to do while I was recording my last four singles from 2016 was bring him artists, bring him like different people, bands from different genres that he maybe didn't have like in his studio. And we started doing like open mic nights and gave opportunities to artists that haven't been heard or seen. And that's what you call the barter exchange.
yeah, the barter.
So I was kind of being like his A&R, like for the like gospel like department
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years, and he in exchange just like was able to bless me with like four excellent CDs, singles, and also two videos, music videos. So I totally recommend him. For his work is excellent, and he's just one of those producers that really listens to the artist, like what they're looking for, what they need, and he came through. So
Okay.
those are the last ones. So 7 years, that was almost 7 years ago, 6 years. Let's see what happens. So any producers in LA, come, hit up Melissa. She knows how to get me.
I know how to get her out. Well, we're gonna throw out how they can reach you at the end, but it's not the end yet. Okay, we're not wrapping yet. Shoot, I was gonna ask you something. Gosh darn it.
Bring it back.
Oh, bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay, so in terms of okay, so two things. So your EP right now, the people can hear it by what? Going to your YouTube channel, or I mean, how can we access these songs?
Yes, great question. So anywhere that you get music, pretty much
Okay.
Amazon, Spotify,
They would put in
Apple
Devorah.
Music, Devorah, and with a V.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I think there's this other artist out there named Devorah, but she has like a guitar, and I think she's like country. I don't know what music, but shout out to Devorah with the country guitar. But she is not me, and I is not her. So if you see that, that's how we keep going. But yeah.
Look for the other Devorah. The non country Devorah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. Probably should have listened to her music, but I'm just like, no, she can't be on my Spotify page. Like that is not me. But they fixed that for me. So
Oh well, that's good.
yeah, it
I
took them a
wish
minute, but they did.
I wish they would fix something for me. But anyway, that's a long story. I'm not even gonna get into that
Oh,
on this episode.
it's persistence. I was like hunting them down. I emailed you like 3 times. Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so I know what the other thing was, because you've mentioned about being like on purpose a couple times, while we've been talking. So where are you at now in terms of, I guess, clarity around your purpose and what you're doing with your life? I know that's a loaded question, right? What are you doing with your life?
Remember the beginning of the show when you were like, "Hey, any question that you don't want to ask, like, can't ask, like just say like no, next
Skip.
question."
We can come back to that on the next episode.
Right? It's funny, but I was like, "This is not." Like, I don't know. You know what? It's so interesting. I'm, just I think it just I just turned 43, and it's like the more you grow older, the more you don't know. Like you think when you're young, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do this. And then it's like, no, life didn't turn out that way. And it's okay. I think I'm literally, if I'm just completely transparent, honest, like I'm still like grip like trying to grip it all.
Hmm.
I'm working a lot. As you know, I work a lot, and I want to say, like, it's an amazing experience to be able to pour into people and mentor them and help build creativity and other ways to help house families that are on the street.
Hmm.
And that to me is rewarding, but it is not doing music. It is
Yeah.
not. And I love music. I love to do it, which is probably why I've been a part of like worship teams and choirs. It's like I just want to be around it. It brings joy to me. But if that's not like what I'm full time supposed to be doing,
Mm.
I'm still living with that. To be
Yeah.
honest, I love it. Like even if it's not me, like if I'm like helping someone else write music or encourage them, if I have that time because I'm working so much, I would do it. But to say I have a plan in music now, no, and it's the truth. And if somebody has a plan for me, send it my way. Because I don't know. I really don't know. And I've always been that type of person, even when I would perform, or we use the word in the Christian world, minister, right? But when I would perform, I would do it alone, but I always enjoyed working with others, like having other people on the stage, even though if I had someone featured, that's one person, but I just like group things. I like team things. And so I think like my next project would be a project with a team, a group of people that want to do music, even different genres. I don't always like go to hip hop. It's so funny because people who know me, like if they're in the car with me, they're like, you never, for someone who like plays and does like hip hop music, you're not always playing it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I actually get my inspiration from like worship music or like just like, regular music, just music,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I'll write something and it just starts rhyming. Like, why am I still rhyming? I'm like, I don't want to keep rhyming, but it's there. So if it's still there, I'm gonna keep doing it, But yeah, I think my next project would be like a collaboration with other artists, and do it like as a team. Yeah. I think that that's a dream that I've always had. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that I love to do. If you ask me right now, what would you like to do? I would love to do that. If you ask me that, was that a plan? No.
Yeah. 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 Mm.
Yeah.
Well, we have a running joke in my house that, that I'm always trying to figure out my life and my purpose like every single day. Like tomorrow I'll get up and I'll be like, yep, trying to figure out my life again today.
I did not know that, Melissa. I didn't know that about you. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like I'm alone sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought I'm supposed to know this. And like, I'm telling my kids, like, you need to do this. And yes, like they should listen to me. If you listen to this, listen to your mama. But it's like because you want to tell them like the things that will help them for their future, but only God knows what their future is going to be. Like you could prepare to be a doctor, you could prepare to be a model, like you can prepare, but like God has the ultimate say, and it's not over. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, it's not
So
over till it's over. Just, I feel like life is like water, it just keeps on, it keeps moving. And I love what you said about how did you just say it? Basically, like the older we get, it's almost like it's not really getting clear, it's getting kind of more unclear.
like, do I need my glasses? Where's the
Yeah,
glasses
because
at?
it's like when I was little, I could see so clearly, like, ooh, I'm gonna be this. I wanna be this. And then it's like as you live and as you experience different things, it's like, oh, well, maybe I could do. I mean, it really can alter and change even just a little bit every day. And I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. And to just like close it all in because we don't want people to think like we don't know what the heck we're doing. It's not that. It's not that, people. Don't take us wrong. It's not that we don't know what we're doing. We just don't know what we're actually physically doing. But we know like we're purposed, right? We have purpose. And I know like what I have always wanted to do is help people, which is through music, help them like, get it together like I was helped getting it together, and I'm now doing that in another way with it's like whether it's with working with like FEMA or working with a nonprofit organization with landlords that will open up the doors to
Yeah.
the families that are homeless. Like I'm helping, right? And that
Hmm.
is fulfilling. And I think that is what God is showing me. Like it's not my story, it's his story, and he has it for others. Where,
Hmm.
I have not gotten the desire taken away from me to do music, but maybe I'm creating a different kind of song, a song that brings like practical things like in play for
Hmm.
others and being the answer, no matter what. Like it's like we are the answer. I think I've said that a couple times, and I don't really say this, but I feel like someone needs to hear you are
Hey.
the answer. And if whether it's through music or
Yeah.
through the arts or through your job, like you are the answer. So
Yeah.
whenever you have an opportunity to open the door for someone or to give them a hand up, you know, do it because no one else is going to do it but you.
No one else is gonna do it but
No
you.
one else is going to do it but
You were too funny. You were like, hold on, let me just make sure you guys understand that Melissa's not saying that we're just running around here clueless. Like we
or
do have a
confused.
general idea. No, you're right. Because one of the things that I work with, like some of my artists, when we're doing like coaching and stuff like that, is like having a personal statement, and the personal statement is a general idea of what your heart is towards, right? In terms of what you want to do
Mhm.
with your life.
Yeah.
And but the how is the thing that changes. The
Mm,
what doesn't really change. You know what I
there you
mean? I
go.
feel like that's kind of there. It's like wired, it's a part of you. We have to do our part to like lock in on what that is, but that's there. But the how, I feel like, can always change. It kind of ebbs and
Yes.
flows.
Yes. Okay. You said it better than me.
No,
Who
I
said
didn't.
it better?
I
Melissa
didn't.
said it better.
There was no saying it better.
Can I be your student though?
We
I want
said
to
it,
be your
girl, in
student.
two different ways. Okay, so two
I
different
just want to be
people.
your student. That's it. Including singing lessons. I'm a background singer.
Come
I'm
on, girl.
not
Let's see. Hey, do you have this?
What is that? Oh, no. Is it for
Have you
me?
seen it before?
No, I have the app, which is like
Oh,
almost like a journal. Like you can put
you're so
your music.
millennial with all the apps. See, I want paper. I want like old books and stuff, like an
I
old
want that
person.
book now. Now that you gave me a little taste for it.
Oh, I should seed it to you, shouldn't I?
Well, I mean, take a picture of
It's
it.
been
Maybe I can find it. There's a Barnes and Noble still. Can
Girl,
you
it's
believe
so
there's a Barnes
old.
and Noble still here? I'm just giving all of the. Hopefully, they can sponsor
You are
you
giving all
too.
of the shout outs. I mean, should I shout out that what I'm sipping on?
Is that Starbucks?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I was gonna say that now. I
Actually, I
just
don't.
shouted out
I
Starbucks.
don't recommend it, so I'm not even going to say,
Never
because
mind.
I tried to doctor it up by adding, like 3/4 cups of cashew milk to make it taste better. It's an iced coffee from a place that shall remain nameless.
Yeah. Is
And you
it a
already know I'm not
local?
really a coffee girl, so
Yeah, you're not. You're really not. That's why
mm.
I don't know how we friends. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I make healthy coffees.
You don't need coffee. You have like you're a ball of energy. You're just like I'm
I
like
am
you don't need it.
contained, though. I'm contained. I'm a contained ball of
You're like a
energy.
cannonball.
No one
You're
wants
just
to
like
let me out.
let her unleash her.
Oh my gosh. We've been on here for about an hour.
Ooh.
Can you believe it?
Is it a breaker or is that like a record breaker for you?
The record bearer.
Because
I think
usually you don't want to go past an hour, I
I
think.
try not to, because I feel like a podcast, but I mean, listen, I don't necessarily care about what it's supposed to be. I just go with, you know, but I know that typically podcasts are not necessarily long,
Right.
because people aren't going to be like, ooh, I'm listening to this for 3 hours.
Yeah. But
But
I do listen to podcasts on my way to work, which is typically in like anywhere from like 60 minutes if it's like really bad traffic, 90 minutes.
mm-hmm.
So I could go for like a whole 60-minute one. I have no problem. The 45 minute,
Hey.
sometimes the 45-minute is like, I'm like, really? Now I have to start something else, but I'm not going to finish it. So
Oh,
depending
so
on
you
my
want one
ride,
to be like within the whole scope of your ride.
yes, I'm journeying with them.
Got it. Okay. Mm. Well, where should we go before we wrap it up? I usually like to ask a tough question. I haven't really
Wow.
asked anything tough.
I'm like, really? She didn't? I thought it all was.
Really?
It's been a while for me. It's been a while.
I like to ask a tough tearjerker question.
Oh,
How
okay.
about
I was gonna
that?
start this whole conversation with like, please, please. I don't know if I can do an Oprah moment. 'Cause I do have to go to work after this.
I don't even watch Oprah, but I can just imagine.
It just like somehow makes people cry. I don't know how she does it, but she's like, oh,
I've
she
only
got
had
'em.
one person cry on an episode.
Oh,
Yeah. Some people may have cried later.
yeah. I'm crying on the inside. Nobody sees it. Sweating.
You're crying on the inside. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm listening to you. I'm like, why have we not made any plans to collaborate? Because, I can spit a couple bars. We can bring back the whole, like, duo girl rapper days.
What? Like salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper, but better.
I mean,
No
they're
offense to salt and pepper.
No, and if you're listening to, you are queens. Melissa does not mean that.
Look, they're like,
Don't
if
come
they
after
weren't
us.
listening, they were like, we were going to sponsor you until you said that. I just mean, we don't want to duplicate. We're not
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
be salt and
Oh,
pepper.
yes.
We got to be
Yes.
something else.
No, I'm down, and let's do it. I let's do it. Set up a date. How about that? And then our next time we're on here, we'll be
Listen,
listening.
set a date. Okay, miss, I got 3 jobs, man. And then.
We are definitely gonna edit that.
Which part?
Okay.
We can't. Oh, the part that I just said right now?
I know. No editing here. We're all raw. We're raw here.
Yeah,
And
I don't
yeah.
edit.
Listen, I stop anything for music. Anything has to stop. My kids is another story, but no, I'm just kidding. I love them.
All right.
So
Well,
yeah, we'll connect. We'll connect offline and we'll set something up.
we will connect. Okay. But you're singing and you're rapping. And do you ever share your writing in a print form?
I have in the past. I have not recently, but I
Okay.
can. I can do
Okay.
it.
Just yeah, I'm just curious. So where can people stay connected with you? How
That
can
is
they
a
do
good
that? You're a
question.
millennial, so I mean, you have to be out there in the you must have a digital footprint. Isn't that
I
what they call
do.
it? Look at I'm fancy. Your digital footprint.
I definitely don't have a TikTok, so don't come for me for that. And I don't think I
Girl,
ever will.
I had one. I took it off. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Oh yeah, I
And it
don't know. I
takes up a
haven't
lot
even
of
tried.
space on your phone too.
Yeah, I don't have a Snap. I don't like it. I don't like Snap. Sorry, Snap users.
I'm on
But
there.
I know that's why I said sorry because you were like the queen of Snap.
But
You were
nobody
snapping
watches.
earlier.
No one watches my snaps, though. I have like five followers.
You
I
have
only
to
like
actually
it.
accept the other ones that are trying
Oh, okay, well, whatever. But you know what? I only like it for the filters, and I think there's something where people are getting rid of the filters because legally
to.
they can't be doing all that AI.
Oh,
But okay, so you don't do
sounds
Snapchat,
serious.
you don't do TikTok.
But I do have Facebook and page under Devorah, and I have an Instagram under Devorah songs. So
Okay,
yeah,
so Facebook and IG, y'all, you better go follow my girl Devorah. Notice I'm still drinking this, even though I said it wasn't good. You know why?
yeah,
Because I paid money for this, so we gonna get it down
yes.
somehow. I'm not gonna waste my money.
Don't waste anything. This is LA. We need to count up coins.
This is girl. Do you know that gas is almost $7? Like seriously, like 6.39
And
right down the
everybody
street.
go get their Ralph's card because you can make yeah, Ralph's. And
What can we do?
again, I'm promoting now. I'm promoting Ralph's.
We should make a list. Now,
We should make a living off of it.
What is Ralph's doing?
So they have they not only have their own gas station, but they have a like promo. Sometimes whatever you purchase from there, you can get like 30 cents, 20 cents
Oh,
off of a gallon. So I mean that makes a difference, especially if the gas is $7 and change. So better go get your
yeah.
house card or wait in that long
I have
Costco
the Ralph's
line.
cards, but I feel like it doesn't work. It does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it actually works
You
in
have to
like
fill
Charlotte
up.
too.
Don't you have to fill up in order to even get that benefit?
I would fill up if I had the
You're like
opportunity,
I
and
would.
I would fill up, and I would tell my husband, be like, "Come right behind me, and you get the rest,
Mm,
squeeze it in,"
okay. Okay. Well,
because ultimately you're gonna use it one day. You're gonna have to fill up the car.
this is true. This is true. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, shoot. Since we're shamelessly plugging before we get off, we done shouted out Ralph's and all these other places. You know what? We're going to do a shameless plug for Creative M Projects because
Yes.
we just recently did our annual give-a-thon and we extended it until May 15th, which is, what is that, Sunday? Yeah, yeah. So, you know what? You guys, you didn't miss it. If you're like, oh, I missed it. Nope, nope, you didn't. You can still give for the give-a-thon, okay? Go to the website, creativemprojects.org. I think on every page you will see a clicky button that says Giveathon. You just click that button and you can give any amount, okay? You can give 5 cents, you can give 5 million. I don't know if you can give five. Yeah, you can give 5 cents. Literally, you can give like any amount. But if you give 5 cents, y'all, we're not gonna get it because that's gonna just go towards the fees of transferring the 5 cents. So just do more than 5 cents.
And hit subscribe.
And hit subscribe. Yes.
Subscribe.
I love it. I love it. All right, so that's my shameless plug. Devorah, Debbie, I have really loved having you on, as I knew I would. You're going to have to, come back on again for another episode
For sure, I will.
because we're going to be doing some live and local ones
Yeah.
in season 3. And so I would love to be in person with you when we kick that off. But we're still finishing up season 2, so that's still a little while, okay?
Promise. Yeah. It's been a pleasure. I love you, girl. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining. And you're just shining. You're making a way for people to continue to do their music and be creative. And God's going to bless you for that. He's already blessed you. You're blessed, girl.
Thank you, girl. So are you. We are like spirited, like minded, like hearted. and you over there shining, and I can't wait to see what your 7 year stuff that's coming up. Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to collaborate. And yes, so shoot. It's so hard to say goodbye. We could sing the song. It's so
So
hard to say good. Put your hands up, y'all. Put your hands up.
to yesterday.
To yesterday. But that's okay. We're going to say hello to today and tomorrow. Anywho, y'all. All right. You have been listening to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative and Projects. I have been your host with the one and only Debbie Turner, also known as Devorah. So check her out, follow her, and yeah, good stuff. Well, until next week, y'all, you already know what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you to keep creating from the inside out. Bye.